Hell yeah. What's up, guys? I'm here with a list video, kind of. Pretty much it's a list, but like, it's not directly about albums and shit like that, like I usually do my lists about. So this is gonna be 10 musicians that I want to see YouTube channels from. More than likely I never will, but it's just 10 different metal musicians that I'd like to see start YouTube channels. That would be badass. Like, I like Varg's channel, The Filling Perspective. I wish he talked about music, but he doesn't seem to be that into music anymore. He seems to be strictly political and whatever the fuck he is nowadays. But first off, we're listening to the new album by the band Ice Giant with their self-titled album, Ice Giant. This band's kicking ass. I found this record probably 4 months ago. It came out about 6 months ago, I believe. They're like a speed metal, power metal band. They kick so much ass. They're from Massachusetts. Fun fact, they actually just started following my band page, which is pretty cool. And I saw them a while back come up on my recommended feed on YouTube back when I was just compulsively listening to Blind Guardian and Rhapsody of Fire, or just Rhapsody preferably. But yeah, then I found them again, and here we are listening to them in a video. Check out Ice Giant, they are the shit. So here's my list, guys. I'm just gonna cut it right from the beginning, actually. Forgot something. Right here. First one would be Austin Lunn of the almighty Panopticon. I'm heading out there up to Minnesota in December to go to the show. And if you plan on going to this son of a bitch, see me there. I'd love to see you guys. Anybody that watches my channel, love to meet you guys. Be kick ass. I think I've gotten recognized once, maybe twice, and that was from my Instagram. Some guy met me at a Marduk show. I saw him. His wife's a bartender at a place up down at the Forge in Joliet, Illinois. So yeah, if you're going to that, first guy is Austin Lunn. Austin Lunn's the mastermind behind the legendary band Panopticon. Panopticon is the pinnacle of American black metal, in my opinion. The greatest American black metal band. At least they're fighting for it with Pro Fanatica, in my opinion. They are definitely the best atmospheric black metal band to come out of the United States. Bluegrass tinged. I feel like Austin could make so many great videos. He could, from what I've heard, I could picture him showing the greatest collection of atmospheric black metal shit that I've really ever seen. And, as well as, you know, being able to show stuff about his brewery and stuff like that, and like beer reviews and beer videos and stuff like that. I'd love to watch Austin do YouTube stuff, because I know that he's friends with a couple of the guys here on YouTube. So if you could get that message over to him, that'd be badass. He's probably busy running a brewery in Panopticon, so whatever. But it would be really cool to see him do that one day. Next, Fenriz. Why wouldn't you want to watch a Fenriz YouTube video? I've watched his interviews and the stupid little videos that he has up on YouTube countless times, and I'm kind of sick of watching them over and over again, just because I want my daily dose of Fenriz, you dig? He's just kind of a goof, honestly. This son of a bitch probably knows more music than the Metal Archives page does. Honestly, he seems like a walking encyclopedia on all kinds of metal, everything from power metal to black metal, honestly, and everything in between. And I just love to hear his 2 cents on stuff, you know, just him talking about albums, what he likes about things. And from the Fenriz commentary CDs, it seems like he talks passionately about music, and I love that. I love seeing people talk passionately about music. So, Fenriz. Next is Will Reimer, I don't know, from Mortician. The bass player and vocalist and pretty much the mastermind behind Mortician. I feel like he could make a badass channel about old school death metal, you know, the old school tape trading days, considering Mortician was founded in the late 80s. And also, I feel like he could show his collection of horror movies, and it would be ridiculous. His horror collection, I guarantee, is bigger than anybody's CD collection on YouTube. and I'd love to see what he has to say. He'd probably show some obscure classic movies that I haven't gotten to see, because I am quite a big horror movie fan, as most metalheads seem to be. I'd love to get a hold of some footage of Will talking about his horror movie collection. Next one is Michael Ackerfeld of Opeth. Now, most of you would probably think it would be a douchey, pretentious channel, and it probably would be in a little bit, but I feel like his huge-ass record collection would do great here on YouTube. And I guarantee that he could show you some crazy, awesome, obscure classics that just fall into the depths of time, I guess. He could show some really good progressive stuff from back in the day that nobody talks about, nobody cares about, nobody knows about. And I guarantee that his channel would be a super interesting thing to witness grow, because just his fandom alone would watch it a shitload, let alone all the other prog nerds that don't even like Opeth. I guarantee they'd watch it just to find out about more bands. So yeah, Michael Ackerfeld's number 4. Number 5 is Werewolf, the Satanic Warmaster. Werewolf's been around doing black metal stuff since the early 90s, starting off in, I believe, the band Horna. I believe Horna was his first, release. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me. If you know, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to know. But I feel like this guy's black metal collection is ridiculous. I feel like he'd just whip out, first press Moonblood shit like it's nothing, and just show it to you, show you what it's all about, talk a little bit about it. Probably not much, because I wouldn't expect him to be much of a talker. But I gotta say, Werewolf would probably have a badass collection, and nonetheless, a badass YouTube channel. Next, somebody that I would love to see some YouTube videos, Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder. That guy is yet another walking encyclopedia on metal. And I feel like that in itself would be awesome. And I feel like he would bring more of the new school to YouTube, rather than what Fenders would do. Fenders would be more of the old school guy, talking about, classic bands from the 80s. I feel like Trevor would be bringing out bands that are still around today and still making great tunes, putting out their best albums now, I feel like he would bring even more underground shit up from the bottom and putting it out here on YouTube so more and more people could talk about it. I know he used to have the Obituarist, or the Obituarist, I think, is the name of the article he used to have in that one big magazine, and that was badass. That's a really sick article. I would love to see him make a YouTube channel showing off his CDs, some of his obscure classics, some of his old Megadeth stuff that he has, because I know he's a huge Megadeth collector because it's his favorite band. So yeah, that'd be sick to see Trevor do a YouTube channel. Next is actually not even a musician itself, but Scott Burns from More Sound Studios. I feel like he could just make an entire channel just out of software nerd shit, like recording stuff, as well as just telling stories from the past. I mean, the guy knew everybody back in the day. He recorded, Death Records, Sepultura, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Deicide, Morbid Angel, everybody, really. Obituary. He could just ramble for hours about stories about hanging out with those guys and recording with them back when they were young, and the craziest they probably ever were. And I feel like that in itself could be a super awesome historical point in metal. I feel like everything that he would say would be super informative to people that really want to get into the heads of these guys, Some people, like myself, like to hear what musicians have to say, what they think, how they do what they do, And I feel like that in itself would be a sick channel. He didn't even have to do anything about, actual direct music, rather than just talking about stories about musicians that he knows. So, Scott Burns would be also really cool. Next, along similar lines, but he's also a musician, Erik Rutan, Hate Eternal, Ripping Corpse, and Morbid Angel. Erik Rutan's recorded shitloads of bands. He's been in 3 awesome bands. I love Morbid Angel, I love Hate Eternal, and I love what the little bit Ripping Corpse did. And I bet you he's got a gnarly collection as well. So I feel like Erik could, once again, do pointers on, recording tips and softwares and techniques and all that shit for the gear nerds out there, as well as talking about stories. And I guarantee he's got a huge collection as well. And I'd love to see some of that. Erik Rutan would be a super interesting guy to watch on YouTube for sure. I've watched a couple of his interviews. Seems like a really cool, down-to-earth guy, and I don't know, I like that. Next is Chase Mason from the band Gatecreeper. I've met the guys in Gate Creeper twice now, because I've gone to every show they've ever played in Chicago, and it's only been 2 so far, which is not a lot, but I plan on continuing the streak, seeing every show Gate Creeper does in Chicago. He seems like a dude that just knows good old school death metal. He'd be able to bring up some, obscure classics, like just out of nowhere, pulling this out. Sorceries, Blood Chilling Tales. I feel like he just had such a cool viewpoint on it. In old hardcore and just obscure death metal and just obscure metal. Like I talked to him for a couple of minutes about Archgoat. I actually had the Apocalyptic Triumphator shirt when I went and saw them with Nails. And I stopped, not even knowing he was in a band, just talked to him about Archgoat for a little while. And then I saw him on stage doing what Chase does. And if you watch Gate Creeper, he's like the epitome of a death metal vocalist, in my opinion. What he looks like, how he carries himself up there, he's a death metal vocalist. And you could tell damn well that he's a death metal vocalist. And I just feel like Chase would be an entertaining guy to watch on YouTube. And last guy, not a musician, but super important, probably the most important guy on this list, Brian Schlegel of Metal Blade, ex-Megaforce. Brian Schlegel, I watched an interview with him. He has over 10,000 LPs, and he has something like 25,000 CDs. Could you imagine that channel on YouTube? And the guy knows everybody. Like, anybody who's into metal knows who Brian Schlegel is. And his stories could go on forever. I mean, he's the reason Metallica's big. Think about that. The biggest band that involves guitars on Earth owes all of their success to Brian Schlegel. Think about that. That's crazy. And this guy's collection is massive. And he's just super important. I guarantee he has tons of great stories. So, yeah, that's 10 musicians that I'd love to see YouTube channels from. Any possible way that I could get some feedback on this one would be greatly appreciated. Some people making video replies, that'd be awesome, because this is something that I thought was a pretty cool idea. I'd love to hear some other people say what they have to say. I thought about including Peter Tackburn, but he seems kind of like a douchebag, so I'm probably not gonna do that if I ever make another one of these. So yeah, if you guys ever want to do a video reply, tag me in it. I'll watch it for sure. Probably subscribe if I'm not already subbed to you. So yeah, keep it greasy, guys.